What wins championships? One superstar or an entire team working together?
It's a debate as old as sports themselves, isn't it? I mean, we naturally idolize the lone genius. We completely obsess over that brilliant striker who scores from impossible angles, or the singular prodigy who just seems to bend the laws of physics. And yet, history shows us over and over again that we celebrate the unified squad, the group that moves as one single heartbeat. So which is it?
Can competition and cooperation exist at the same time? Are they just fundamental opposites constantly at war with one another? Or is there actually a secret to blending them together?
Today, we'll explore one of sports psychology's most powerful lessons, the psychology of competition and cooperation. Because as you'll see, understanding how we strive for greatness on the field holds the exact blueprint for how we succeed in literally every other area of our lives.
Okay, let's dive into this. Here is our roadmap for today's explainer. 1. The competition paradox. 2. Healthy versus unhealthy competition. 3. The foundation of cooperation. 4. The force of team cohesion. 5. Synergy, the winning formula. And finally 6. Champions in everyday life.
Let's start with Section 1, the competition paradox.
Sport is so often described in these almost combative terms, right? We talk about battling opponents, crushing the other side, or dominating the field. It's viewed purely as a clash of wills. But there's a massive paradox sitting right at the heart of this view. On one hand, competition is an incredible, undeniable motivator. It's the spark that drives people to improve, forcing them to challenge their perceived limits and step way outside their comfort zones just to perform at their absolute best. But on the other hand, well, every great victory actually depends heavily on profound cooperation. Cooperation is the vehicle that allows individuals to combine their unique, individual strengths and achieve overarching goals that would be completely physically impossible to reach alone. Think about your own life for a second. When you face a massive hurdle, do you try to conquer it entirely solo, or do you rally a team? Sports psychology reveals that you actually cannot rely on just one or the other. Both competition and cooperation are absolutely essential for long-term success. They aren't enemies at all. They're literally two halves of the exact same engine.
Moving on to Section 2, healthy versus unhealthy competition.
So there's a very clear dividing line in human motivation. Think of healthy competition as the sunshine that fuels growth. This is the drive that inspires athletes to wake up at 4 a.m. to train harder. It pushes them to learn new skills, refine their techniques, and develop deep, lasting psychological resilience. Healthy competition encourages continuous improvement rather than a simple, shallow comparison with others. The goal is to be better today than you were yesterday. But when that drive turns toxic, when it becomes unhealthy, it's like a dark, suffocating cloud. Unhealthy competition breeds intense jealousy. It creates this paralyzing fear of failure where the stakes always feel like life or death. The pressure becomes absolutely crushing. You see, when the competitive drive turns unhealthy, the focus shifts entirely. Instead of focusing on their own internal performance and personal growth, athletes and people in general become completely obsessed with simply defeating someone else. The joy of the game disappears, replaced entirely by the dread of losing. And long-term, that dread is a guaranteed recipe for burnout. Section 3. The foundation of cooperation. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is that regardless of how much raw individual talent you have on a roster, it is teamwork that inevitably determines the final result. Picture the sheer coordination of a football squad moving down the pitch in perfect sync, anticipating each other's runs before they even happen. Think of a hockey team passing the puck flawlessly at breakneck speeds, or the immense pride of the Indian cricket team celebrating a hard-fought wicket together, everyone knowing their exact role in building that pressure. These highly cooperative environments don't just happen by accident. They are meticulously built on 4 core pillars. First up, open communication, the ability to speak honestly without ego. Second, mutual trust, knowing the person next to you has your back unconditionally. Third, a shared purpose, a collective goal that completely overrides individual stats. And fourth, a deep respect for everyone's contributions, from the star player all the way to the person managing the equipment. In these environments, each player explicitly understands their role while simultaneously respecting the crucial contribution of every other person. This level of cooperation is the absolute, non-negotiable foundation of successful teams.
Which brings us to Section 4, the force of team cohesion.
We've talked about the foundation, but what is the psychological glue that holds these diverse, complex rosters together when the pressure mounts and the stakes are at their absolute highest? Sports psychologists define team cohesion as the invisible force that keeps a team united despite profound challenges. Look, it is incredibly easy to be a cohesive team when you're winning by 50 points, right? Everyone's smiling, everyone's supportive. But cohesion is what happens when things go disastrously wrong. Have you ever been on a team where one mistake caused everyone to immediately start pointing fingers? Yeah, that's zero cohesion. When trust is high within a group, true cohesion allows players to recover rapidly from their mistakes. If a player drops a crucial catch in the final over, a cohesive team doesn't isolate them, they rally around them. They support one another during those difficult, high-pressure moments. It's a unifying force that buffers the team against the inevitable setbacks, heartbreaks, and losses of literally any demanding pursuit.
Section 5. Synergy, the winning formula.
This brings us to a really powerful realization. Compete externally, cooperate internally. This is the absolute essence of synergy, and it proves that competition and cooperation are not mutually exclusive opposites. To really grasp this, picture an Olympic relay race. 4 runners, moving at an absolute blinding full sprint, must perfectly time the passing of a baton in a fraction of a second. Or think of a fiercely contested doubles badminton match, where 2 players move around the court in this beautiful, unspoken dance, covering for each other's blind spots instinctively. The absolute best teams in the world compete fiercely, with everything they have, against their external opponents, while cooperating seamlessly and unconditionally within their own ranks. They channel all of that aggressive competitive drive outward, and they channel all of their cooperative supportive drive inward. That, right there, is the winning formula.
And this fundamental truth applies everywhere, because no champion succeeds entirely alone. You might be thinking of individual athletes right now, the solo sprinters, the singles tennis champions, the heavyweight boxers, but even those competing in solo sports rely on a vast, deeply cooperative network. Think about it. The moment a solo athlete wins gold, who is the very first person they run to? They hug their coaches, they thank their trainers, they praise their physiotherapists, and they acknowledge the unwavering sacrificial support of their families. Behind every single lone figure standing on a podium wearing a medal around their neck is an entire invisible team of people who cooperated for years, sometimes decades, just to get them to that one moment. Individual greatness is kind of an illusion without cooperative support.
Section 6. Champions in everyday life.
All right, it is time to bring these lessons off the field and into our own lives. Because these principles are not just reserved for elite, high-performance athletes. They apply far beyond the stadium, dictating the quality of our daily results. Think about the environments you navigate every single day. Picture a bustling classroom where students are collaborating on complex, challenging projects, learning to blend their different learning styles. Imagine the intense, high-stakes environment of a hospital ward, where doctors, nurses, and technicians must coordinate flawlessly to deliver life-saving care without a second of hesitation. Think of corporate teams strategizing in a boardroom to meet a crushing deadline, or even just families trying to manage the chaotic logistics of a busy household. In every single one of these scenarios, people achieve significantly better, more sustainable results when they learn to balance a healthy, driving sense of competition with deep, empathetic cooperation.
So, the crucial point is, what is the essential ingredient that makes this balance actually possible in our everyday lives? The answer is psychological safety. It's a massive term in modern psychology and leadership right now, and for very good reason. Psychological safety is defined as feeling respected, trusted, and totally free to express your ideas without any fear of embarrassment or retaliation. Think about what happens when this safety is missing in a workplace. People hide their mistakes, they stop sharing innovative ideas because they're terrified of being mocked or shut down. They start viewing their coworkers as threats rather than teammates. But when psychological safety is present, the fear of failure just evaporates. It is the essential foundation that allows everyday people to take calculated risks, to innovate fiercely, to collaborate openly, and to perform at their absolute highest potential. People simply perform better when they feel safe to be human.
Ultimately, a healthy dose of competition encourages us to grow, to reach higher, and to push our boundaries. But it is cooperation that creates lasting, meaningful success. The greatest victories we will ever experience in our lives are rarely just isolated individual achievements. They are shared accomplishments. They're monumental efforts built entirely on a rock-solid foundation of mutual trust, radically open communication, and an unwavering commitment to a common goal. I want to leave you with this final, powerful thought. Champions compete fiercely. Great teams grow together. So, as you step back into your own life, your workplace, your family, your community, ask yourself, are you just trying to win, or are you trying to grow?
Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Coming next, leadership, the psychology behind great captains. See you then.